I've been up since 1 a.m. waiting to talk to Rob Carolan. We are thrilled he will give us perspective. Rob, I don't want to talk the fire. I want to talk to Santa Ana winds, which go east to west. We're now back to where we were in 1957. Why are the Santa Ana winds different this time?
Well, because we've got a big ridge of high pressure sitting over the western United States, Tom. We've had a big trough in the east. That's what's been producing the cold weather in the central and eastern United States. So conditions have been maximized. The other issue now is we had a storm system develop in the southwestern part of the country. That caused the windy weather to develop in Southern California on Monday. And now there's a cold front dropping across the state that's attached to a low in the Pacific Northwest. So they are looking at very strong winds today, 40 to 60 mile an hour. They'll see 80 mile to 100 mile an hour gusts in the canyons this morning. It should start to diminish this afternoon. I think they're done with it tonight. And then we've got another pulse of Santa Ana winds in Southern California Thursday into Friday.
On YouTube right now, the images of the San Gabriel Mountains in Altadena, just north of Pasadena, as well, there are 3 major fires. Rob Carolan, the Santa Ana winds have been there forever.
Yes.
Are they changed by climate change, or is that a separate debate from the weather of Rob Carolan?
Well, it would be a separate debate, Tom. As you've mentioned, we've had issues with Santa Ana's forever. You know, it's a climatological event that takes place. The big issue is because the California population is now up around 40 million, there are people living where they didn't live before. They're in areas that are at much higher risk for fire danger. We've seen that happen north of San Francisco. We've also seen that happen around the L.A. basin. So we've got more people living in a state that's prone to fires, and they're happening, and the winds are excessive.
Paul, we talked about this earlier. This is not Neil Young up Topanga Canyon with Mick Fleetwood. This is thousands of people living where they're not supposed to live.
Exactly. Hey, Rob, talk to us about just the moisture out there in California. How parched are they at this point?
They're pretty dry, Paul, and there's no rain in the forecast because we're in a weak La Nina pattern. All of the precipitation is staying to the north. It's been moving through the Pacific Northwest. We've gotten a little into Northern California, but not a lot across Southern California, nor do I see really any rain headed their way anytime soon.
Paul, get one more in here.
So what's kind of the forecast here, Rob, here? I mean, there doesn't seem to be any real relief.
Well, the good news is, Paul, the winds are going to diminish quite a bit. They'll drop off to 10 to 15 miles an hour after midnight tonight. That will make a big difference for the firefighters. They're not going to be having to put up with, gusts over 80 miles an hour. The next pulse is a little further south. It's more down towards the San Diego Mountains in San Diego, and those winds will peak probably at 40 to 60 miles an hour Thursday into Friday. So not quite as strong in this event and in a different area of the state.
Rob's coming back with us here later on Bloomberg Surveillance this morning. Rob Carolan, as always, just magisterial, great, clear thinking on these crises. Paul, I was up most of the night on this, and this is not like the others. This is what I get is this is different.
Yeah, well, what I get is it's just right there, like almost downtown. I mean, there's no real
Palisades Fire almost made it through Santa Monica to Brentwood.
Yeah.
I don't know Brentwood. I mean, I looked at a house there once. It was like outside the garage, just to the right. It was $10 million just off the garage.
Exactly right.
But it's like fancy. It's like fancy LA.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of actors post some video here.
Rob Carolan with us here coming up later on YouTube. Stay with us. Bloomberg Surveillance.